What's up, everybody? TJ here, and I'm back with another 5s and 10s video. Now, continue my trend of wrestling themed videos today. Let's see. I've talked about concept matches already, but today let's talk about our roles within the business. Okay, obviously, the stars in the ring, the guys that put their bodies on the line to entertain us, that's one thing. But let's talk about the other functions of the ring. You got referees, you got ring announcers, and you got commentators, and you got all these other backstage personnel and or authority figures and managers and whatnot, and So it's when it comes down to all that, it's like together they're the ones that work together and pull on a show for you. Okay. Let's see. The ring announcer obviously is a true focal point, actually, because they're the master of ceremonies. They're the ones that welcome fans to the show, get them riled up, and announce what the card is for the night and whatnot. And so so that's a huge important role. But of course, I'm not going to talk about ring announcers because although if I'm going to talk about ring announcers, there's only one great ring announcer, and that's Howard Finkel, the true voice of the Garden, actually, the voice of that has called so many matches, or announced so many people for so many years. Come on, there was like something great about Howard Finkel with his voice, okay, and not to mention he always came to ring dressed properly, dressed to impress. He's wearing a nice pressed tuxedo and whatnot, and that's the good thing about ring announcers, and that's something that's missing from ring announcers these days. I mean, sure, you got William Garcia, who's very good for sex appeal, and of course she's a woman, and of course she does a pretty good job, but none match the flair or the pizzazz that was Howard Finkel. Okay, Howard Finkel was truly, in my opinion, the greatest and the only Hall of Fame ring announcer ever, actually. Although I will throw out two quick shouts to Michael Buffer and Bruce Buffer. Michael Buffer, the voice of back during the '90s, who used to ring announce for the big main event matches of WCW. Yes, and of course he's also the one that made the line. Let's get ready to rumble. Line, that line makes that line famous. And let's see, I also put Bruce Buffer, even though he's not really a wrestling ring announcer, but he was more of the UFC ring announcer. And of course, come on, he's the voice of the Octagon. He's, announced, he's been with the company so long. Of course, he's synonymous when it comes to the ring announcer of that company, actually. So, but anyway, that's ring announcers. But let's talk about commentator teams, okay? That their job is to call the match as it seems, and also connect with the audience at home, who's watching at home and trying to understand what's going on. Okay, that's their job. And of course, so you want to look back at that. There's at the history of commentators, like there have been some good, and there's been some bad. Okay, so today I'm going to give you guys a quick list. Why I call my top 10 best wrestling commentators, okay? Yes, all right. So I'm going to breeze through this as quick as possible. And of course, people on this list, it doesn't. I'm disqualifying. It doesn't have to be any company. It can be any company, generation, or anything. Okay. So we're going to dive through this. Let's see, kicking off my list, Don West, actually. There was something that I liked about Don West was that he was so enthusiastic, and even though at times he can come off as a little annoying, but hell, that's what I loved about Don West was that he was able to call the match as it seems. Sometimes he get a little overexcited, but that's what I missed about commentators, was that he was so into it, that he was so enthusiastic about doing his job. Okay, that's what I liked about Don West. Okay, it's a damn shame that they got rid of him soon. That they let him off. And of course, there's another reason why I kind of like him is that bet you guys didn't know is that he's a Purdue Boilermaker, and my brother's a Purdue Boilermaker. Why not? But anyway, that's a side note. Moving on. Joey Styles, why the hell not? The voice of ECW. Come on, the guy that essentially made, oh my God, famous, and a guy that essentially just made ECW awesome. Brought the product into our homes and just say you guys are in for a night of action kind of thing. And of course, that's what I loved about Joe. He was awesome. He was also outspoken, and of course, not much else I can say about Joey Styles. And get this, he called all the matches by himself. Yeah, but then again, on occasions, he would have someone like Tommy Dreamer or Joel Gertner or believe it or not, Rick Rude worked with ECW at a brief point. In case you guys did not know that, they kind of worked together well together. But then again, it was always I miss Joey Styles just being on commentary by himself, because he was able to just call it as it seems. He didn't need anyone to work with. He was perfect alone. Let's see. Moving on. Gordon Sully. Why the hell not? Okay. Without Gordon Sully, there wouldn't be anyone on this list to ever call matches like him. Gordon Sully, if you don't know who he is, he was the commentator, play-by-play guy back during the 70s and 80s, or actually I think he worked a little longer than that actually. And like he started working, I believe, in the AWA. He worked his way to WCW and the NWA, and like with him, he had a great persona and presence about it. It's like he always had a calm demeanor. That's what I liked about him. And of course, he also did spout a couple of pretty cool phrases, including this one, which I sometimes use once, and bet you did not know he said this one, is that, "Oh my God, this match has erupted to a Pier 6 brawl." Bet you did not know that. That's what I loved about it. Is like when it comes to commentators, like Gordon Sully was able to come up with something fancy or something fly, that make fans get excited at home, kind of thing. And without Gordon Sully, like I said, no other guys will ever have a career. Guys like Mike Tenay, Jim Ross, anyone. Moving on. Now I mentioned him, Mike Tenay, actually. Say what you want about him, but see, he was known as the Professor, and what I liked about Mike Tenay was that but not only was he able to call a match, he knew every move. He also studied. That's why he was known as the Professor. He knew every move. He knew everything about a wrestler. Knew about everyone's backstory and everything. That's what Mike Tenay was all about. Of course, sure, he would stray sometimes, but he always call it right down the middle. And that's what I liked about Tenay, okay? And of course, moving on, if I mention Mike Tenay, then why not mention Tony Schiavone, actually, okay? Another voice of WCW, and a guy that's just synonymous with that company. And like, the guy was with the company through it all, actually, from the time, from the 80s to the 90s to its eventual decline. And like, he called some of the best matches, and like, Schiavone had a distinct voice, and that's what I loved about him. It was like, you know when you're in for a treat, and it's always good to hear his voice when you watch an old WCW event or an old NWA event. Of course, that's a subject for a different day, but hey, that's what I loved about him. And of course, what's Tony Schiavone doing nowadays? Always doing he's calling baseball, I believe, or I think he's retired. I'm not 100% sure actually what he's doing these days, but he was great, man. Shout out to you, man. You're awesome. Coming at number 5, Jesse the Body Ventura. Yes. The reason why is that, to me, Jesse Ventura was the first heel commentator. Like, think about it, okay? Guy made a successful transition from the ring to the plate and to the ringside booth, and was able to call a match. And of course, he was also in the perfect heel commentary, and was able to play off everyone perfectly, whether it was Vince McMahon or Gorilla Monsoon and that kind of thing. And he also would spout some very snippy one-liners. You always favor like the heels, or would say, "Oh, that's just not fair," and or how about this one? "This ain't justice of the peace. Where's Jack Tunney when you need him? This has got to stop." That I don't know if that was a good one or not, but that's what I love about Jesse Ventura. Say what you want nowadays, but back then he was awesome. And of course, moving on to number 4, Bobby Heenan, another good heel commentator. And like, what I liked about him was that not only was he a good heel commentator, but he was very, very entertaining, actually. And the fact that like, he was like the perfect foil and the perfect polar opposite to like Gorilla Monsoon, worked and complimented him perfectly. And like, believe it or not, they were real life friends outside the ring, but outside, being on camera, and they just had fun just doing what they did. And of course, like, what about Bobby was that not only would he be able to just, be able to kind of call a match, but also try to get under people's skin. And that's what I liked about him, actually. And of course, in my opinion, of all the old commentators of the old day, of the 80s, my opinion, he was way better than any of the others. And like, he's a guy that was kind of synonymous with that generation. Same with Gorilla Monsoon. While on the subject, number 3, why the hell not? Gorilla Monsoon. Another guy made the successful transition from the ring to the play-by-play stand, and he took it and nailed it, and like he had such a booming voice and a good presence, and like he was just so good. Like I said, him and Heenan, they played off each other perfectly, and it's a damn shame he left us so soon, actually. And believe it or not, like Heenan actually said at his Hall of Fame acceptance speech that I just wish Gurua was here just to see us, because he missed him so much, actually. And like that's what I love about Gurua Monsoon. Actually, he was so great. Of course, let's see if I can do him perfectly. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Madison Square Garden, and tonight we're giving you a good night of action. And of course, as always, would you stop? That's what I love about Gurua. What awesome! And of course, this place has gone bananas. Moving on. I can probably do this for the rest of the night. Moving on. Jerry Lawler. Yeah, I can't put him on this list because why not? Actually, Jerry Lawler and JR. I'm gonna get this out of the way. Why not? They were the quintessential good commentator team. Like Lawler was like when he started, he was like another good guy, great wrestler that made the transition to the commentary stand. He was able to take the ball and run with it. He was a good heel commentator. He was, and like him and JR like play off each other perfectly, and they were another great tandem to listen to and watch. Say what you want about nowadays, but Jerry Lawler was entertaining. That's what I loved about Jerry, was that he was able to like take something so ridiculous and just run with it. And of course, sometimes you'd be a little bit sweet while he would always get aroused or turned on by the women. We can all say that he was a little bit of a sleaze for that, but hey, that was Jerry Lawler for you. Of course, I know it got old fast, but that's what I loved about him, was that he coined. I don't want to say it, I really don't want to get in trouble, but hey, that's what he was. And JR was like the perfect foil, and JR, obviously the voice of a generation. He made things amazing, actually. Okay, and of course, the guy was synonymous with Monday Night Raw. Like if you look back at the history of Monday Night Raw, like that's the first voice you hear, actually. And it's like, like when you hear JR's voice, you know you're happy. You're in for a fun night of action. And like JR calls it as it is. He's not afraid to speak his mind. And him and Jerry work very well together. And that's what I loved about these guys. And of course, just to round out this video, I'm going to throw out some honorable mentions and maybe 2 dishonorable mentions. A couple of honorable mentions. Gavin Loudspeaker and Bryce Remsburg, a tandem from the Chikara Pro company, actually. Hats off to them. The reason why I like them was they're very entertaining on the commentator, even though sometimes Gavin can get a little off the tracks, actually. It's his title, Loudspeaker, and he also doubles as a ring announcer sometimes. So that's what I liked about him. Michael Cole and Taz, they also played off each other perfectly, but they were not the best or the quintessential team that is either Monsoon and Heenan or JR and Lawler. So that's that, and of course, two dishonorable mentions. Chris Kloss, good God! If you want to hear me talk about Chris Kloss, I'd say look up Wrestling Society X or XPW. Okay, he just screams like a pansy. That's enough said there. And Randy Rosenblum, that's another dishonorable mention. If you don't know who he is, look up the Heroes of Wrestling review by Wrestling with Regret. Enough said there. That does for today. Well, I want to hear your picks for who you think are the best wrestling commentators or commentary team. Please thumbs up this video, subscribe to my channel, and keep it here for some more awesome videos.